morning. Hop back on today, guys. I know it's Sunday, which means church for my family. Obviously, self-quarantine and self-distancing is going on right now, but we're still going to turn into our church this morning, Redemption Gilbert, because our leadership team was gracious enough to do the night before, recording like worship and a sermon, and then they're going to release some really cool prayer stuff. But besides the point, I think on Sundays it's important to give the Lord your best. So aside from setting an alarm and waking up this morning and it still being, we're not going to have to go to church, I still want to look nice, which for me means curling my hair most of the time. So today, by the way, Gunnar might be joining us today, but besides the point, I thought I would show you a hack for curling hair. This isn't how I like to do my hair, like bougie, if you will. This is just me, because I, for church, have to wake up really early. Whether it's for work, I have to be there by 7, or if when I was on guest services, I also had to be there by 7. So I typically want something that's going to be kind of quick, not look bad, but just, kind of get me out of the house without taking 5 years, because I have a lot of hair, which means if I really want to curl my hair nice, I'll just save that for a special occasion. But this is something that I like to do when I'm just kind of on the run, or still want it curled but don't want to spend a freaky amount of time. So you might have seen this on Pinterest already, but I'll just kind of show you how I do it, and along the way I'll kind of show you some tips as to how to get it coming out looking nice, and then how to finish it off, so that way you're not just taking it out and then just going. I always like to finish it off, stylist touch. So first of all, I will show you the stuff that we need. So we showed you before, I like my rat tail comb. I always like to finish with this because then I get the part that I want. Right now my hair is just kind of all over because I just woke up. You're actually going to need a scrunchie today. A scrunchie, or one of those tele-tie things, or just something that's loose that you can kind of easily take out of your hair. I feel like a regular hair tie you can use, but I know everybody has scrunchies, so if you have one, pull that out. And then Tangle Teezer again. I love this brush, and especially if I need to put my hair up, I love that brush. And obviously curling iron. I'll show you my curling iron and why I like that curling iron in a minute, because I have several of them, but this is the one that I love, and I got it for Christmas, and I did research on it, and I love it. And then this one is optional. I don't need it because I washed my hair yesterday, but this is dry shampoo. There's a lot that I like, but there's only 2 that I'm really crazy about. The one that I used to use a lot was Batiste. I know a lot of girls like to use it. There's tons of different kinds. There's blonde, brown. I just found that I didn't really like it just because it kind of was chalky and too powdery for me. This one I feel disperses really well. It's called SGX NYC, New York City, if you will. But you can get this at Walmart, you can get it at Fry's now, you can get it at Walgreens. But there's different kinds, but this is the volumizing dry shampoo, so I really like that one. If my hair was a little bit more oily, I'd show you how to apply it, but directions are typically on the back. You can figure it out. Okay, so curling iron. This is my curling iron. It's the brand Hot Tools. Some of you guys might have seen it before. It does have a spring clamp. I'm not going to use the spring clamp, though. I typically don't really actually curl hair. If you're getting technical, I use it as a wand, so I always open it up and then I'll wrap the hair around it. It also has this nice little thing, so if you're on a surface that you don't want to burn, you can always just put that down and then it keeps it from burning. And I also love this part because it's rotating, so if you're all over everywhere, you can not have to worry about where the cord's gonna go. But anyway, all that aside, oh, and then you also have, if you need to touch it, it's plastic, so you're not going to get burned. All that aside, that's not the main reason I love this curling iron. Hot Tools is the brand that Evit uses, so it's the one that I've been, learning on. However, the first time I used this kind of curling iron, Hot Tools, on my hair, it stayed without hairspray, which is nuts, because my hair does not hold curl, at all. I've used 1,000,004 curling irons, just does not hold curl. It'll last, for church service, but then, throughout the day, once you brush it once, you're done. And I had always used hairspray, but in Evit, they don't train you how to use hairspray, so I'm not going to use hairspray today. If you would like to, that's totally your call. My only tip for that is less is more, because the more you use, the more crunchy it gets. I'm sure you've had that before. But I'm not going to show you how to use hairspray because I don't think it's necessary. My hair will stay with this iron for 48 hours at least. Obviously not like exactly the same, but like it will hold the curl for 48 hours. So highly recommend Hot Tools. If you want something a little bit more wondrous, there is the same exact iron, but it's not the spring clamp. It's like a loose clamp, which I like. That's the ones we use at Evit. But anyways, size. You're probably wondering what size this is. So this is a 3/4 of an inch iron, which is kind of crazy because, you know, like when you have a small barrel, it means like super tight curls, which is not entirely in right now, which I totally understand. But there's a way to manipulate it to make it look like it's not super ringlet and it's not super, because you can spread them out, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But I love this because the smaller the barrel, the more it lasts for me. If it's a looser curl, I'm just going to have looser, and sometimes it just goes flat for me. But not saying that you can't get beautiful waves with a bigger iron, especially if you have more hair. Highly recommend a bigger barrel. But anyway, this is what we will be working with today. It also has adjustable degrees. So say you have really, really thin hair, I'd highly recommend going lower on the heat because that means your hair isn't going to be able to stand as much as maybe a girl with really, really coarse hair. And that just means if like your individual hair strand is really, really small and you don't have a lot of it, that means you're probably going to have very thin, fine hair. But if you can kind of like almost roll a single hair strand around in your finger, then you have very coarse hair. It can withstand a lot, and you're going to need a lot of heat to break the hydrogen bonds that you need to get a curl. So anyway, aside from lessons of what to use and why to use it, and if you have any questions, please ask me. I don't know everything, but I do know a lot from what I've learned. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I love answering them, and I love learning more from questions and getting to share more. So in this video, I'm going to show you how, and then I'm going to release a time lapse of how I do it. It'll probably be a very short time lapse because this doesn't take that long. But anyway, let's get started. So I'm going to take my scrunchie, I'm going to put it on my wrist. I have my Tangle Teezer, and I'm just going to flip over. But essentially what you're going to do is you're going to want a high ponytail kind of right on like where the highest point of your head is. So just give me a minute, I'll do that. I always like to flip over for this. If you're magical and you can do it without flipping over, great for you. But I have a lot of hair, so I always flip over for this. But if you have like short hair, or if you just don't have a lot of hair, that's totally fine. And you are just very lucky and you just get to do it sitting up. But if you have long hair, I just like doing it upside down because then gravity figures out the rest. And I just kind of go over with my brush again. And then I'm just going to, I'm very OCD with where things are placed, and you don't have to be, but that's just how I am. So I kind of just make sure it's all good. And then the important part with the scrunchie is you're not making it super tight. You want it tight enough to sit at the top of your head, but you don't want it too tight where it's going to make a huge crimp. So, right? Super, super great. We'll just go to church like this. Anyway, now that I have this ponytail, I'm going to take it into just two pieces. Because what I like to think about is when this comes down, I'm going to have two sides of my head, because if I want to put it on either shoulder, I want it to look two different ways. So I have two pieces. I'm going to keep them as separated as possible. And then depending on how much hair you have, you don't have to do as many sections. For me, if you've seen my hair before, it kind of gives you a reference. I only do 3 max. So I'll separate this into 3 little pieces, and you don't have to do it right now, but just to kind of give you an example. So essentially you're only curling 6 pieces, and then you're good to go, besides like touch up if you want to do touch up. So I'm going to show you how to curl and tips on if this is something you struggle with. If you don't really struggle with curling your hair and you like the way you curl your hair, totally just skip this video, it's not for you. But so I'm going to take my curling iron, I keep it open. And then one of the most common mistakes I see is with people, they think that you're supposed to like really, really make it like a tight curl, and then they get disappointed because it's too ringlet or it just doesn't come out right, it's not even. So if I do this, the curl is going to come out very, very, very uniform, and it's not going to come out like kind of loose and wavy like you see on Pinterest a lot. So the trick is, when you open up your iron, you want to spread out your curl. You don't want it to be super, super tight together. So I typically like just kind of like, so you're kind of pulling away from the iron, and then you kind of get that more beach wavy look, which is also why I can use a smaller barrel, because since I'm not making it super ringlet, I can kind of spread it out, and then once the curl comes out, I can kind of pull that apart as well. So anyway, I'm not holding it for very long, which is why there's not having, I just want to do a demo for you guys. So then, say all of this is curled, I am going to put it all back, and then you're going to take the scrunchie, and this is important because the first time I did this, it didn't come out because I like ripped it out of my head because I was really excited, but that's going to kind of like defeat the curl because the curls are still cooling, and the way the curl cools is how it's going to come out. So if you like just rip it out and then you kind of like flatten the curl as it's cooling, then it's just going to turn out flat and you're not going to like the way it comes out. Anyway, besides the point. So you're going to slowly take it out, which is why it's important to use like a loose scrunchie that's soft and it won't cause a crimp in your hair. And then you'll have a lot of volume already because your hair's been up, and then you can kind of part it how you want to. And then in the time lapse, I'll show you that I use this to get my part out. And then you're going to pull it on either side. And you might get some kind of like wonky curls here and there, which is fine. That's why I go ahead and I touch up. Really what matters is for people to look at your curls is kind of right by your hairline. So you can kind of take pieces by your hairline, and you can kind of just take like smaller ones and kind of like I showed you before, just kind of make the beach wavy and let them cool, and then kind of finger through, and it'll kind of overlap, kind of like match the rest of your curls. And you know, same for that. And you can do a side part, you can do a middle part, do whatever you want. And then, I mean, since with this iron I don't have to use hairspray, I like to brush it out afterwards to make sure it's all blended together. I always make sure that you kind of finger through your curls, never leave them, because to me that just looks chunky and it looks like you kind of forgot a step. But that's my personal opinion. If you like that, go for it. That's all you. But anyway, this will just be how I do my curls if you wanted to kind of learn a new way, or if you just want to see how I did them. So I will post a time lapse in a couple minutes while I do it, and then we will go from there. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, again, please ask me. If you're looking for a church service, please go visit Redemption Gilbert, or just redemptionaz.com as a whole. They have an amazing resources, especially in this time when like COVID-19 is out and it's all uncertain about like, our church service is open, like, is it worth it? Yes, it is. Join a YouTube live or just something. Go do something today, or if that's not your thing, like, just go do something meditating. Go take a walk. Go do something, which is what I'll be doing today. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday and a great rest of your week. Stay tuned for more. If you have any other detailed suggestions as to what I should show, please do. I'm all ears. So goodbye for real.